Alright, so this is a Monroe CSA-10. This is the first Monroe that I have worked on, and so far I am impressed. This is the first one I've gotten that, okay, first fully automatic mechanical calculator I have received that just straight out of the box was, I mean, for one, able to just turn over, but also seems to be working fairly well. Um, I'm starting to kind of know sort of what I'm looking for with looking on like an eBay post of, hey, this thing it's got a bunch of stuff in it that comes out when I shake it around, so you're gonna have to open it in the garage. You know, if I see that on the description, I'm probably not gonna look at that one. But on this one, it was just, hey, the cord was broken, and it made me think, okay, maybe the cord's broken, and that's why this machine, was stopped being used, and not that it was totally mechanically locked up and completely busted before. I noticed when I got it that the left-hand side of the accumulator here was not cleared, but on this machine you can clear. I guess if you put one of these knobs, there's a three positions. In the middle position, it's like in the middle, so like right there, should only clear. Well, let's find out. Apparently, that's only going to clear the left-hand side, but when it's fully inward or outward, I think inward. Yep, it'll clear the whole thing. So that was fine. I noticed, just from looking at the manual that the this model, I guess, came with, or could come with, a bunch of little options here for multiplication, division. There's a negative multiply button that's listed in here that mine does not have. The cover actually didn't have, it was just blanked off here. So I think when I was looking into this type or style of machine, I noticed that they made one that could multiply but not divide, or you can get one that divided but not multiply. And this one, I guess, can do divide and multiply automatically, but not negative multiply, which is, that's not really, that's fine. I haven't tried anything division related, because usually there's so many different things that have to happen that I'm kind of scared to try. But anyway, this thing's, I can enter stuff in the multiplier, sort of, apparently. Let me try to get that fixed. Uh-oh. So what's happening now is this is not in the right spot, I think. Wonder if this will fix it. Sort of. I'm going to need to lubricate that. But everything else, I mean, not everything, most things else are totally fine. I can add, I can do a multiple repeat add, so like a semi-automatic multiplication there. For the most part, again, we've got, now I'm concerned that there has been, yep, alright, that's an issue. Hopefully that will fix itself, who knows. Again, I haven't lubricated this or cleaned it in any way, so maybe that's just one of those things that'll fix itself. But anyway, just wanted to get a shot of this thing. I'm going to make some videos. Hopefully I can, if I run into issues, I'll be able to document those, so anyone else that runs into those will be able to fix them. And I'm hoping at the end of this, if I can get this thing fully functional, that I'll be able to run through a video just kind of with demonstrating all of the manual here and how that works, because when I first received this thing, I had no idea. Like, some of the stuff was pretty self-explanatory, but other things, like these levers and how this works, this little whatever, I could not figure out at all. So hopefully if I can get this thing totally running properly, I'll be able to make a little demo video, so we can have that on YouTube in perpetuity. Alright, so I decided to take the carriage off, which was really pretty simple. I'll go over that here in a second. But it looks like you can run at least addition, subtraction, clearing the keyboard. I'm not going to try to do anything else, really, just because with this machine, as soon as it starts doing something and there's not the little whatever
mechanism to end whatever the operation it's doing, it's really annoying to figure out which, you know, lever I need to, or several levers I need to mess with in order to get it to stop. But get a pretty clear view of the I'm not sure what the name of these things are, but basically they're not actuators is a better word. But when I'm pressing keys, I've got these little guys being moved to different positions, and it looks like they do a combination of a few here. I guess I'll demonstrate that. So I'm going to hit like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's moving the one on the right, and then once I hit 5, it starts doing, looks to be a combination of both of them. I'm not really sure. I'll need to look at that better. But the reason I decided to take this off was the multiplication register. Oh man, that guy, little floppy dude. I can't really. All right, there he is. I was having some issues with this. Couldn't quite get the. It seems like there's an issue. I'm not sure if the timing is off. Where this is, I think, supposed to be maybe not a carryover register, but the carry has to happen somewhere, and also every single one of these registers is locking up. Oh, okay, it's no longer locking up on that one. Maybe it'll lock up on this one. But a few of these were locking up in weird positions, and there's really nothing you can do with this thing with the carriage still attached to the machine. I mean, I don't know if there's much you can do anyway, but this thing is really hard to mess with as you take this off. But anyway, oh, let me turn the power off. But with the carriage removed, you know, I can still do addition, subtraction, and clearing the keyboard. I'm not going to try to do anything else because a lot of these operations here, if there's nothing to tell it to stop, I'm trying to figure out how to get it to stop by like shifting whatever lever it is. Finding it is really annoying, so I'm just going to try to not have to do that. I mean, still, this is still a very clean machine, all things considered. The rodent smell of whatever died somewhere near this 100 years ago is starting to go away, which is nice. But for removing this thing, probably should have taken a video before I did this, but I did not. Just going to kind of rest that on there, turn the power off. Okay, so that's definitely what the machine looks like normally. But I noticed, I should have noticed this earlier, it's kind of like a marching, like a silent speed, like that over there. My parts machine that I just grab random stuff from whenever I'm needing a screw or something. But it's actually two shafts that are split. The longer one goes from the whatever home position side to right there, and that rotates during, I forgot if it's either clearing the upper or lower register. One side rotates down, the other one rotates down, which is actuated by these little levers right here that I've zip tied so they don't, I don't know, fall in there. But removing this was incredibly easy. I mean, literally, the first thing you do, or at least this is how I did it, was taking the top or the front plate of the carriage off to get this kind of this way. But there's a little hook right here. This hook. The hook's in right there. It's hard to do with a phone camera. I'm trying to point to it. Little thing there, and basically you can lift the carriage up like this, disconnect the hook there, and then the carriage is completely disconnected on the front side. So then all that leaves is just the shafts, which I was expecting this to be a battle like that marchant over there, but it was really very simple. I mean, these I don't know if I just lubricated this like a lot right before doing this, but I didn't even. They have these little screw holes in there, and I found a screw that would work. But before then, I realized that I could literally just pull these out by hand, and all I had to do was just the little whatever swing covers on the end. I just flipped those up, removed the shafts, and then this pulled right off. So I'm hoping, and I was afraid I'd have to like figure out how to like get all these back in there, but really these basically stayed in the place that they're at now. So there wasn't a lot of like whatever pin or whatever those are called, like retaining rings or something I'd have to figure out or anything like that. So I mean, I didn't want to have to remove the carriage, but hopefully I can get this multiplication register removed, figure that issue out, and put this back together. It does not appear that there's any timing or anything I'll have to worry about with the carriage. Just based on the experiments I was doing by moving the carriage shift around manually, it seemed like as long as there weren't any gears currently meshed, or it was like halfway through a addition or something, then you could pretty much just move it and it would not be an issue with timing. And then these are obviously, you can just kind of, there's no issue there. But I'm gonna go ahead and start looking at this multiplication register here.
All right, so this thing is fully operational at this point. I'm just gonna go over the adjustments I made before putting all the panels back on. Okay, so quick word of warning about cleaning this thing. These buttons will dissolve in isopropyl alcohol. You can kind of see get the camera up here, the etching of especially the clear button there. That wasn't like that when I got it, but it was covered in, just kind of nasty rodent grease. And I had to decide, okay, I need to get the grease off these buttons. Like, I don't want to be touching these with that on there. So I hope that, if you're trying to clean these off, you can find a better way to do it than I did. I just kind of had to let it be what it was because, unfortunately, there was a lot more rodent grease on this thing than I even initially thought. After I removed this plate here, it was a good caking of it, and you can tell it's rodent grease is it's a very easy test, and that's that as soon as you put any type of solvent on it, it will immediately just start to smell like, dead, dirty rat. It's a very strong smell. It's hard to miss. The good news about that is, since it is a grease, let's see, I've had a lot of success getting it off with just this specific degreaser. Um, I tend to use this one over the whatever, like foaming engine cleaners I've used, other types. This one seems to be fairly safe and work pretty well, but I could not use it on these buttons or anything plastic. Um, if isopropyl alcohol would eat these buttons, I wasn't going to try to put anything stronger than that on them. But just, know that if you're going to do any type of cleaning of these buttons, it's very easy for the paint to come off. I could tell the plastic, even on these, slightly better buttons on the keyboard, the plastic was dissolving, and I had to just kind of, like I said, I had to decide, all right, I don't want to be touching that, so I'm going to have to let that be okay. All right, so in addition to the buttons, the paint on these wheels is very easy to remove. Just kind of cycle that a little bit. I think most of I knew that it was, after I had done that to this button and, this one up here, I had to just take my time, go very slowly. But unfortunately, it was the same thing where I had a lot of grease with the rodent grease on these, which couldn't use degreaser. I used rubbing alcohol, but I mean, I kind of had to do this. But just know that, if you don't have to go as hard as I did cleaning these off, I would highly recommend trying to find something else because this was not only did it take the paint off, it also just wasn't very helpful. I mean, I could try to get in here and get all the grease out of there, but in doing that, I would be damaging the paint more, and it was just one of those things where, all right, I mean, I'm not going to say that plastic, components are a bad thing, but it does make cleaning it a little bit harder. All right, so this is the backside of the little multiplier. Um, this is really, I'm basically just using the camera for my eyes at this point because I can't get down there like this. But the issue I had with the multiplier, I might have caught it on camera, I hope I did earlier, was that it would multiply from the first register here. See if I can get that to turn. I wonder if it's locked in there. Nope. No, I'm just gonna do this. So there we go. The way that this is not a carry over register, obviously. I mean, it's all this does is this wheel spins counting down until it's multiplied or added as many times as was said in the little register here until it hits this little slot. So I'm going to try to, so this slot right here, there's the same slot in all of these gears, and there's a little catch right here, which again, impossible to see, but it's this thing, and they are held up. So you can see it's not, the only thing that is keeping this little catch, whatever you want to call it, that basically as soon as this catch hits the slot, so what should happen, I'm going to go back to this one, so I'm going to turn it down until I hit 0, which I'm not sure when that's going to be. I can't really see. Here we go. And it's not doing what I wanted it to for the video. But anyway, this catches in the little cutout that I showed on all these things. And as soon as it catches is when it indexes basically to the next number. And what mine was doing was it was counting down, multiplying, it would get to 0, and then it would just keep going. So go back to 9, and it would keep turning, and it was never done. So a lot of these number wheels, I'm going to call them, are in some way held in place by these long springs. So you can see the spring on the multiplier. Obviously, it's a really teeny tiny spring, but this spring basically in this one just functions to hold these up. So in my case, especially this one wasn't being held up enough to where it would catch. It's supposed to catch right there. I'm hoping I didn't screw this up by moving it too much. But this one especially, I mean, all of these just weren't. And the spring, it runs the length of this thing all the way to the back. And it attaches right here. There's a little, you can see the spring. I'm going to move it a little bit. There it is. Honestly, I just had to pull the spring out through all these little, sections it moves through because it had started to droop. And in my case, it was the spring was kind of starting to, one of the links, whatever, right here was a little bent, so it was no longer pulling straight. I had to turn it a little bit. I tried to put a a little spacer, washer, teeny tiny little anything, because this is if you pull the multiplier out, this is not. You can just pull that out. You can pull it out pretty far, but this plate right here did not give me any room, hardly at all, to put anything in there. So it was just a matter of, okay, I needed to pull that out a little bit. And so that mostly fixed the issue. I mean, apart from the cleaning and the lubricating. And there was another adjustment screw on this side. I'm going to try to get a shot of that if I can. I might not be able to from here, but maybe I'll be able to point it out on some different footage I took. But anyway, this is the, if yours is just carrying over and it's not indexing to the next digit, it probably has something to do with the fact that these catches are not hitting the slots on all of these as soon as they come to 0. I'm going to try to do a little video here of this from the underside multiplying and maybe be able to see some of it. We'll see. Okay, so hopefully we'll be able to make some of this out. Really hard because all of the action happens, right kind of beyond where you can see, but hopefully some of it will come out. But basically, the multiplier is now full of all nines, so it's all maxed out. I removed the little hand wheel right here so you can have a little better view. But I'm just gonna do, what is it, 99999, like 10 nines multipliers full by 1 on the accumulator, or sorry, the keyboard register. So it'll just run through and it will add 1 9 times on each position, and then as soon as it hits the 0, it'll index to the next one. So I'm going to go ahead and hit multiply now, and hopefully we can make that out. Yeah. No. So so apparently we couldn't make any of that out, and everything was right behind where you could see. So I'm gonna try this again, maybe from another angle, hopefully, because it's hard because this thing will hit the camera. I had it like right. Anyway, I want to try this again. All right, so here's another view. I'm hoping this will work, but so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hit the nines in here, and this is from the farthest to the, I guess, right position on the carriage. So as soon as I hit enter multiply, it's going to go all the way back. So there it has entered. Let me check. Yep, it's all nines. So now I'm going to multiply by 1. Let's see if we can make this out. No. No, it's not. No. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm not really sure how else I can show that. It's really hard to see what's going on in there. But I mean, in terms of just pulling the spring out, I can maybe show another side of the. So all of these registers have a similar kind of design in the sense that there is a long spring that. Oh man. There we go. Okay, you can kind of see that one. Every one of these has a spring like this that runs the whole length that holds something in place for each one. So, I mean, this one, yep, this appears to be for the accumulator, or sorry, the counter. But every one of these has a spring that starts all the way on one side, goes through every single digit, and then I think in this case, this one terminates like right there. You can kind of see that, and dang, I can't get it in there. So this is actually hooked in right there. When I first saw that, I was like, "Oh no, this is supposed to go all the way through," and I do not believe that because it's pretty well hooked in there. Most of them have some kind of a plate on the end that is a little more rational than that. Like right here, we have another kind of thing where we have a long spring running the length of something, and then it ends right there. And it's the same idea, I guess. So if you can picture that in a smaller scale, all the way through to the man, there's a word for these. I don't think it's accumulator, or sorry, actuator. So these are this whole thing in here, the movement, if you will. There's a word, and I have forgotten that word, but this is this is where it adds. This is where like these guys, the carrying happens in here. There's no carry mechanism built into the to any of these registers actually, but this one's the same thing. We have a spring that's holding every single one of these. So if you can imagine the multiplier with the tiny little spring was the first one to have issues there. The other adjustment is is going to be completely impossible to see, unfortunately, from this view. but I'm going to try to point it out maybe on another video I took. But the end of the multiplier, which in this case right now it's all the way right here, so it's pretty far down there. There is a large slotted screw head on the side. It's, you know, about that size. It's part of another adjustment of the same kind of style as like this one, where you turn it, and it, in this case I had to tighten this large screw. It's like the big, I mean, I can't, unfortunately you can't see it, but it's the, you can't miss it. It's like you look at this this side of the multiplier shuttle thing, and it's like it's there. And I had to take a very long, with it installed, of course, because you can't make these kind of adjustments, you know, because you just, it needs to be installed so you can adjust it properly. But anyway, I had to take a long screwdriver and stick it all the way down as far as I could, and tighten it clockwise as far as I could, which seemed to push the multiplier out a little bit, the bottom at least, this direction. And after doing that, and after making some little adjustments on that teeny tiny whatever spring thing I showed, I hadn't had any more issues with the multiplier indexing. I've had a little bit, I mean, so again, to kind of show what happens here, say I want to enter multiply there. Oh, focus it. So I would try to multiply anything. In my case, initially, it wouldn't, I mean, it would do that thing where it would just keep repeatedly not catching at all. So I'm going to go ahead and, I don't know how much this is going to help, but there it goes. It would get to 9, and then it would just keep going, and it would get to 9 again, and it would just keep going forever until I, you know, figure out how to get it to stop. This little hand wheel really comes in handy, because a lot of times when this thing gets stuck doing something, it's just a matter of like kind of making it go one way or the other, and then it will figure something else out. It's very hard to figure out exactly what it is that's keeping this doing the same operation that's getting locked in. Another issue with I guess it's the same issue, but just after I had made that spring adjustment here by changing the one on this side, the teeny one on the bottom, some of these registers, like, I mean, most of them, it was this one, like this, I guess like the fourth from the right, and then the first one, if I tried to do like, I mean, this exact thing, even like 2 times 2, I'd always get like 6 right here. So like if I was just trying to make it say, okay, I want you to type in the number 2 one time on every one, I'd get like a 3. It was always going 1 or 2 beyond what I'd set it at. This one as well. So that ended up being the same issue in a sense, where these little, the things that it's supposed to, the little, it would get to 0 and that thing wouldn't catch fast enough. And unfortunately, those 2 adjustments and just cleaning and lubricating it, I still am not confident in my ability to like repair this other than that. I'm kind of, part of the reason I'm not removing it from the machine and demonstrate this is because I was kind of hanging on to the seat of my pants with this. It was not a, oh, I know what to do, and like I'm very confident in, no, it was more, okay, this happened to work. I don't know why, but I'm putting it on video. I'm hoping that maybe that'll help someone, or maybe just the footage, but I think that's pretty much all the repairs I made on the multiplier. All right, so one of the adjustments that took me a little bit to figure out here, the issue I had was when I was clearing it's the accumulator. I think the manual calls it the lower dials, but hitting the lower dial clearing button, these is really more on the right side of the carriage, but like these would only go to 9. So I'd have, especially if I had for some reason like an 8 or a 7, and I hit clear, these would just go to 9. I'd hit clear again, and no matter how many times I hit lower, it would still stay at 9. And if you look at the little shafts for the lower registers here, has a little pull-out guy, but you can see kind of the angle that it goes through. and when I'd hit clear, it was maybe only doing half of that. So I don't know, like 15 degrees. Like, it was pretty obvious that this was supposed to move farther than it was. And the adjustment I had to change to fix that is just this tiny little thing right back here. So when I was looking at this, I could not tell that this was even an adjustment. So it's right here. I'm going to hit clear on the lower. So that's the little arm that pulls down on the this shaft that clears the lower register. Then the other side, there's something similar, clear the upper. But this nut, okay, so there's a flathead screw right here. There's a teeny tiny little nut, and just like this kind of larger adjustment style here, where you have an eccentric shaft on a hex nut, there's a lot of adjustments like these on like a lot of mechanical calculators, but this one has a ton of them. This is a very teeny tiny one, so I had to just loosen this nut and turn this a little bit, basically trial and error to get this in the right spot in terms of, like, rotating it to where these would clear. And once I did, I have not had any issues with that since. It's been clearing just fine. Looking at this thing, I mean, there's so many, I mean, just on this side, the longer I looked at it, the more of these little teeny tiny adjustment guys. I mean, we got that, let's see, there's a few of them right here. Some of them are very, very small. I really just didn't want to touch as many. Like, the only reason I figured that one out is because I was so desperate that I basically just started making as many adjustments as I could on anything that was at all linked to the carriage there. But if you're having an issue where it's not clearing all the way to zero, I'd definitely give these a look. Okay, so on the motor, these brushes for the governor ring right here were a little loose when I got it. They're better now. I mean, you don't want to be too tight, obviously, but this is a little set screw. So the brushes are held in by a spring inside this little movable red thing here. So all you have to do is, take this out, loosen it, whatever, and you can move this whole red sheath with the spring and the brushes and everything, and position it, tighten it down so that it's the right, I don't know, so they don't, there's a right place to put these. I'm gonna go ahead and try to run the motor real quick and see how many sparks we get. Oh, I turned the power off because I was being responsible. All right, yeah, so we're not really getting any sparking on the governor ring anymore, which is what I'm looking for. So this thing in here, this is the, dang, it's gonna be hard, but we're gonna get through it. All right, so this screw right here, oop, almost got to turn the power off. So this is the, I guess they're not really brushes. I'm gonna call them points because it's a centrifugal governor, and like basically, I guess they're kind of whatever. This when you screw this in, this little screw right here, you speed the motor up because the governor has to speed up faster before the centrifugal force, whatever, will open the points. Anyway, it's you might not be able to make this out from the video, but mine, the governor, the whole motor shaft, in fact, is a little bit, it's not quite aligned with the, that's a better view, the points there. You can kind of almost see the tip, or the, whatever. Wow. We're gonna get, yep. Okay, so that is not on the same axis as this. It's eccentric. Anyway, and that's it could be due to the fact that some of this is a little bent. And there was another manual I found, not for this model, but for another model that had a similar setup, where the advice was to it basically realign the entire drive all the way back to the transmission back here. And I have decided to not do that because I am just going to wait, and hopefully as the as these little carbon piece right here gets kind of ground down to be level. I'm going to try to run this one more time so we can see that going. There we go. See, it's only sparking on the top because the misalignment caused it to wear in a way that was not even, but I'm hoping that this will over time become, I don't know, less terrible. When I first set the speed on this and let it run for a while, I came back here and there was so much, carbon everywhere from this having to be, ground down to the right whatever. But at this point, it seems to be good enough. I'm going to try to just run this thing for a while and then come back and see where we're at there. If I have to do some major adjustments, I will do that. Okay, so just to like demonstrate what I did to set the speed, I mean, there was that little screw, so you can get to it from back here. But in terms of checking the timing, it's going to be, I'm just using the same method as, like the standard kind of way to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and set a timer or a stopwatch for 15 seconds. I prefer, if I trust a motor to run for 15 seconds, I'm going to prefer 15 seconds over like 6 seconds or 10 seconds. But anyway, just going to let the, input keyboard register be all zeros, and I'm going to time the counter register on the repeat button here for, I'm going to go 15 seconds. So we're going to start now. And we're getting close. Yeah, that was about 15. So it's saying, what is that, 131? So I'm actually going to calculate this with the calculator. Let's see. So we're going to do 131, and the multiplier, there it is, times 4. Alright, so that's giving me an RPM of 524. So with this, on setting the speed, unfortunately I haven't found any documentation or any advice from anyone that for like what the specific speed for this machine should be. I'm hoping that maybe someone will see this and say, "Oh yeah, you're doing it wrong. The speed's supposed to be this number." But I was unable to find a model or a service manual for this model specifically. The model or the manual for the model that was closest to this one, I think it was a CAA, which is like the next iteration of this, basically didn't have, at least I didn't see an RPM setting. I have it at 524 now, basically just because I was having issues the lower I was running it. So below like 500, I was having some issues, especially with multiplication and with jamming of the carriage shift here. And I don't know. I mean, I've been running it at about whatever speed this is for, I don't know, probably a good few weeks, and it hasn't done any jamming or anything like that. It's probably going to speed up over time like these things do, so I'll probably make another adjustment there. But if I do ever figure out what the correct factory, RPM is, I'm going to try to leave a comment. All right, so this is the right side of the carriage. There's another one on the left side. I couldn't figure out what these were. I was looking at it with the carriage removed, and all this goes to on the other side is just a little, dang, it's a little plastic, it's a little like plate. I mean, that's all it is. Like if I screw this in or out, it just moves a little. And you can almost, I'm going to try to touch it. Can I get to it? Maybe from the bottom. So this thing I'm kind of in the neighborhood of right here. And obviously with this carriage moved all the way this way, this doesn't touch anything. But the one on this side, the one on that side, this is going to control, basically this is where the carriage hits when you shift it. So maybe we'll be able to see this, I'm not sure. That's really hard to see. So there's a little black, I don't know if it's spring steel, but it's pretty springy. black thing that runs the length of this and hits the other one on the other side. So basically, I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but if you needed to adjust where this thing stops on either the, hitting the right side or the left side, I give these things a look. I don't think I had to really adjust them at all, but that was just something that I was really confused about until I figured out, so I figured I would go ahead and share that. All right, so I'm probably gonna, go over this part again when I'm going over just how to use the machine, but I ran into this while I was trying to fix it, and I figured I'd show it in this part because this was frustrating. So you can see the this it's not a this number right here in the accumulator is 8. So I set it to 8. But anyway, this is a feature. It's not an issue. So I was having this issue of how come when I clear this register out, it doesn't matter what's in here. I was trying to see if I could get it, carry a bunch of different digits there and then clear it, but it was always going back. I think in my case it was a 6, and I was like, oh no, I have a timing issue. This is really bad. I'm gonna have to take anything apart. So this is they call this the half-cent lock, which I guess I'll go over that whole thing later. But really, to get this to set to any number you want, you just hold this little lever down. There's only one lever on this face, so it's pretty hard to miss. It's also not, it's just a little metal lever. But you just hold it down and you add whatever into it, and whatever you added will then become what's locked in place. So in this case, it's an 8. So if I want to go to 0, I'm going to add a 2 just in this column, and I'm going to hold the lever down. And now I have a 0 there. So now when I clear it, just kind of add some stuff in here. Now it clears to 0. So I mean, just if you're trying to fix this thing, it's like, why is that one doing this? It's actually the very useful and ubiquitous feature of the half-cent lock on this one right there. All right, so I'm going to go through a quick little rundown on all the just basic operations of this thing. I think I'll probably do another separate, either whole video or maybe section of this going over the whole manual with all of the different specific things you can do that are kind of mostly, I don't want to say mostly useless, but even the manual was like, it may be desirable to do this, or if it is desirable, it doesn't even give any reasons to why that would be desirable to lock these in this position, for instance. But I'm probably going to do a separate video with this really cleaned up, really nice, and try to be a little more professional about using the right terminology here. But I mean, if you're just trying to verify that yours works or get it running, this isn't going to be that kind of a little presentation here. And as such, I've got my little silly joke. I know we've all got one of these Contex 30s lying around just as a quick size comparison. I mean, this thing's, I would say the Contex is smaller than a bread box, and this is bigger than a bread box, so we've now defined the size of the bread box. This is anyway. So, okay, just, addition, pretty simple. Honestly, the basic addition subtraction is not that complicated on this thing. It's not really any different from any other machine. I have noticed, I'm not sure if this is an issue with my machine. I don't think it is. I think I just randomly noticed this because I wasn't looking. The 0 keys down here, when I hit clear, they're all set down. And I kind of saw these originally as, oh, this is just the clear, the column of the keyboard register here, which, most of these machines, you don't have a 0 button. You just have a little, oh, I hit a 5 and I meant to hit something. I just want to clear this one. You hit that. It's more of a button release. But in this one, like you do in operation, the 0 keys are now no longer depressed. However, that doesn't actually do anything that I can see. There's not like a functional difference here. You know, like I could push all these. Not gonna, you know, they'll pop back out, but that's not. Like I cleared them out. I think maybe that this is more of an indicator of, oh, I have just cleared the keyboard out because now I've got all the zeros pushed in. That's just another kind of weird thing. Quickly on like the repair side of this plastic, as much as anything else on here, is, you know, very soluble in, I guess, like any solvent. I mean, I'm using IPA at this point. Like I'm just barely using like a wet wipe almost. I do need to get I did need to get the rat grease off of this, and almost immediately the paint right here, or the accumulating multiplied, whatever. Like this paint came off a little bit. This is starting to come off. The little paint for the multiplication symbol here, I'm not sure if this is supposed to have any paint here, but it's gone. But just a heads up on that. So just go through the normal stuff. Adding, you know, just hit these. Subtraction, really the same thing. One note on this, the carry. So the carry is not built into the register. The accumulator is really not built into any of these registers, but let's say I want to, well, I'll just do this. Right now I have zeros. I'm going to subtract 1. And here we go. I've underflowed the counter register, and this underflowed up to, I guess that's the 13th register. That's the last one that's actually contacting with the mechanism. The rest of these are just free, which is a pretty common thing with a lot of machines. There's an 8 there. I don't like that. Oh, it's because I don't know why that is. Let's try that again. I'm going to demonstrate the repeat addition because that 8 was concerning to me. I don't know why that was happening. Oh, it's okay. Anyway, moving on. That's the same thing in addition. The one thing I was kind of annoyed with, I guess, with this is when you're overflowing. When you're going to carry into, I believe it's this, number 12. Let's see. Yep, okay, so the 12th register right here, there seems to be some kind of, it's not the friction clutch because like, there's not an issue with me doing this manually as many times as I want, but if I'm doing a repeat operation, it does stop at that point. So I'm hoping that's not an issue with my machine. I don't think it is, but just it caused me some concern at first because I was like, why am I not able to carry the 12th? Well, I can move it over. It's going to be the same thing. If you're trying to fix this, mine has been doing that. It hasn't interfered with any automatic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. It really seems to only happen during a repeat addition or subtraction, which I guess that's built into the mechanism. So moving on to this button down here, I guess was the most confusing to me, and part of that's because it's missing. But if yours is not missing, it's number 7 right there. That is the clear, return, and multiply key. So I guess it says clear, and there's, I guess, maybe an arrow. So there's a lot of stuff this button does. It's really not that different from like practically any other multiply button. I mean, it is a little, but anyway, so hitting this button with none of the, like this isn't moved, I don't have any division tab stops in place. It'll just return to first position, which is right here. And really all that's doing is it's about to start a multiplication, but there's nothing to multiply, so it just goes there, and then that's their, oh, it's the return key, I guess, because there's no, there's no clear return. Like on a Freedom, you hit a clear return button and it will go to first position, clear everything out. And also this, so let's do this. We'll move this over, and I'm going to turn off the accumulate multiply, which, let's see, they call this a cumulative multiply lever. So that's the actual word for it. But if I have that off, and I've had a bunch of 3s in here, I'm going to go ahead and clear the keyboard. Let's say I hit this button, and it cleared. So because this is off, it's going to clear before performing the multiplication. If this is on, I have some numbers in the accumulator, and I hit it, it's not going to clear anything. So this is, I guess they're like, oh, well, to do an automatic multiplication, first we got to return. So I guess we'll call this the return button, and also it'll clear it if this is up. So it's also the, I don't know. This should have just been it should have just said mult like this. I mean, anyway, that's what that does. So if you're trying to figure out how multiplication is supposed to work, I'm going to run through the whole multiplication here. So enter mult. So this is just to enter the multiplicand. I guess that's the word. Which you do that, whether just type it into the keyboard, hit the button. That will put the numbers in the multiplier. The multiplicand will go into the. This is the term. No, it's not defined in here because it's just the buttons. Anyway, now I want to multiply this by 2. So this is to enter the multiplicand, and then I enter the Is this the multiplicand, and this is the Anyway, 6 times 6 to the whatever, this number times 2. I'm going to hit the multiply, the clear return multiply button right here, and it's going to just run through and do that, and then it will return to, well, that's a little complicated, but return to a tab stop if the, anyway, so that's a multiply, got my number right there. If I wanted to do I guess you could call it automatic squaring, but if you hold down this button for like a second longer than normal, so you just hit it once, it'll clear the keyboard out. But in this case, I entered the multiplier, and now I've entered this button at the same time. So I can just hit the multiply button, clear, return, multiply, and now I've got 5 times 5 is 25. So that's pretty useful, I guess. This right here, so this lever will lock the multiplier, and this is like the only, so this basically has repeat multiplication is what this does. I mean, that's when I read the description for this, that was more of a, they call this a constant multiplier lever, which is fine. The way that works is, if I have this lever down and I try to enter a number to the multiplier, it's not going to work. It'll go up here like and it'll just cancel out, because this is locked basically in this position. So if I want to enter a multiplier, I'm going to have to, let me have that up. Let's say I do this. Once that is in place, I can lock this, and this, just like the Freedom STW and anything with repeat multiplication, it will run through the multiplication, and then it will pop the 5s back into the register. And I didn't dig too far into this to see exactly how that worked, because I didn't look into that. But I'm going to demonstrate it here. Mine just happened to work after I fixed the springs and everything. But got that down. I want to multiply that by 5, I guess. We're going to hit the multiply button. You can see these are, let's try that again, by 2. They rest a little bit higher than the rest of the zeros. So as soon as it goes back to the first position here, it'll pop it right back in. There is not really a way to clear the multiplier out. I mean, if you have a number that's easy to tell, okay, so if I just do some 5s, that'll, oh shoot, that's because it's locked. So in this case, I can either multiply by 0, this by 0, and it'll run through. I mean, I could enter that number and it would go back to the zeros. Again, this is not a carry register. You know, when I was trying to figure out how this thing worked, I would just sit here and like enter a bunch of numbers, and I was like, why is it doing this? I don't like this. But yeah, and so again, I'm going to clear this out just by having it run through that, and it's no longer locked. So that's multiplication, really. I mean, you accumulate, multiply here, lever. All this does is, as soon as I hit this button, if I don't have it, if I have it up, it's not going to clear the accumulator first. If I do, if I push it down, first thing it does is clear the accumulator. If there's nothing in the multiplier, it basically just indexes over 1. This is what it does. This is annoying. So there's an actual mechanical, I don't want to call it an interlock. It's just very obvious that you cannot push either carriage shift button down without also pressing down. Well, this one's on the subtraction, this one's on the addition. And I mean, it's a little easier to see with this all removed, but that didn't need to happen I needed to have all of this working before the carriage shift would work. So that was another thing of why the carriage shift on this was an issue, is that there's a lot of other things. Besides the thing that goes 100 miles an hour on this side, you got the subtraction addition to worry about as well. Okay, so let's see. Another thing with multiplication, if you try to enter a multiplican, whatever, and you're not in the first position over here, it's going to go there. So I hit this now, or I hit this button, and there it goes. In terms of like trying to fix it, I mean, that's just annoying, but again, I'm trying to this is going to be more of a mechanical kind of, here's what you need to look for thing than like a full, anyway. So that's multiplication. These levers over here. So this locking lever, I mean, there's some stuff I could go into with this, but I mean, really, this is probably not going to be much of an issue for you, because all it does is kind of like bump these levers into, I think there's 2 positions that it can go in. And it really just goes from here to here. It's not that useful, or whatever. It's not that complicated when it comes to getting it fixed. What these levers do, it says NE, so non-entry. When this is in this position, this is basically the direction of the counter. So you look up here, if you don't have automatic multiplication or division, you're going to have to do successive or repeat additions and subtractions. I don't have negative multiplication. This machine, there's a little like spot for it down here, but you can see my plate doesn't even have a button for it. So if I wanted to do a negative multiplication, I would have to, let's say I have 6,000 and I want to subtract 4 times 7, I guess. I would do this, and I would do that. Oh, shoot. Why did that not work? Oh, it's because it underflowed. So you gotta watch for that. 6 minus, I got 600, minus 5, that's not supposed to happen. 4 times, I don't know, 4. And as you can see, that worked. However, the counter, whatever. So that's what that does. This is just your counter direction. So in the multiplication, all this does is now it's going to count up. Yeah, it's going to count in whatever the position I have it set at, and down is just going to be, it's going to count down. So now it's going in reverse. To turn the counter off, which is another one of those things where it's like, it may be desirable to do this. The non-entry key, so with this up, and you shift non-entry up, this lever, it's going to place this lever, the counter, this is the counter direction. Now the counter's off, because it's in between, forward and reverse. So now it's not going to do anything, which is, more of a hassle when you're trying to get it fixed than anything. I never really messed with these when I was trying to get most of the other operations going. That's those levers. Turning off, that's repeat, that's non-repeat. 33 plus. Now it's not going to let me do it more than once. This, I tended to keep this repeat down when I was trying to do any type of diagnosing of this because it was just annoying to have to deal with that. One thing I will say, it does say in the manual that the division stop key right here, which is pretty standard, can also be used to stop automatic multiplication. But when I was having a real multiplication issue, like it was clearly well beyond what this machine was, like this thing running forever on one digit and not indexing. Sometimes when I switched it quickly to the non-repeat right here, it would stop, which was really helpful because worst case scenario, I mean, you can mess with the hand wheel to try and get it to stop, but I had to go underneath the machine, figure out what linkage was keeping the little blade switch contacted to the motor, and work my way backwards sometimes. It was just really bad. But if you get lucky and your multiplication is just going in circles, this might stop it for you. It did for me a number of times. Okay, so let's see, division. On mine, division was, it locked up the second I hit the button the first time, but after taking the carriage off and getting the multiplier to work, which involved a lot of just regular cleaning and lubricating, everything else, I tried the division out and it just worked. So I'm really happy. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot of other additional components besides this. This button here seems to be the most complicated operation set of going to the tab stop and subtracting from the. Basically, this has to kind of automatically. There's not like a physical. The lever doesn't move, but this has to erase the one that's added when you're going to this position. Anyway, these little tab stop keys for division, really anything else. Once these tab stop keys are pressed, unlike other machines, it will stop at that position, and then you'll have to press the button again. So it's annoying, but if I have a tab stop pressed and I hit enter dividend, basically, it's going to go to that position. You can use this slider if you want. Technically, if both of these are in the same position, then during multiplication, it will stop. I'm going to go right here, it's a little easier. It will stop only when these are in the same position at this position when it's done multiplying, but really only if it has had to go past this slider in order to finish the multiplication. Because if I have it, let's say I really, demonstrate that, I'm going to enter 4 times 2, a bunch of letters. So it's going to go through and do that, and then it stopped there. But let's say I have it set here, even though both of these are in the same position, I have to do 22 times 1. Oh, it actually worked now. Okay, so now now it works. It does go there. So I'm glad that I caught myself being dumb on video, so you can see that I'm trying to fix these things. I'm not an expert on all this, but so I'm going to try this. Now they are not in line. The manual was very clear on the fact that the slider had to be in the same position as a tab stop for multiplication to stop in that position. So now I'm going to do the same thing, basically, that times this. And now it is stopped in the tab stop position, which is making me believe that not only do I not know what I'm talking about, but I also didn't have enough issues. Yeah, okay, so I honestly, this didn't cause any issues for me other than it's very annoying to take this off to have to get this out, and I haven't run into needing to use this part yet, but if you're just trying to fix it, I mean, I hope you don't have issues. I don't have anything I can really say about this other than you got to take it off and it's annoying. Tab stops up here. I'm going to clear that out. Anyway, just to go over division, really this is basically the same as practically their automatic machine. I'm going to type in a dividend and then hit that button, and the dividend is entered at, in this case, the tab stop is not entered, so it's going to go all the way to this position. And I'm going to enter the divisor, which, you know, just like any other automatic machine, if I make a mistake and I enter the divisor like here, I'm not paying attention, and I hit divide, now it's going to like keep trying to divide until the cows come home, because this is going to take forever. So the division stop key, when that is pressed, it does have to wait until it underflows that register to actually stop. I think the first time I tried to stop this, I was terrified because, you know, I'm used to, you hit the division stop, it just stops. You know, this thing, it'll wait until it's gone to the next underflow and indexing, and then it stops. Anyway, just to go over its standard division here, just 355, everyone's favorite little demo number, divided by 113, division button, and standard stuff that shows up in the counter register. Let's see. I mean, this is really just, I didn't want to go into like a ton of detail here because I was really just like, this is kind of the more repaired side of this thing. I mean, from the outside, there's the little silly half-cent lock. I think I've pretty much covered the keyboard and the operation of this thing. I don't think there's a whole lot else. I mean, these buttons down here, interestingly, they're electrically actuated, but that has to happen way back down in here. So like down here, there's still a large mechanical linkage going all the way through here. But it does allow you to hit these buttons simultaneously, which is nice. Let's see. I think that about covers it for like the kind of quick demo thing. These knobs right here. So, I mean, let's see. So, if right now the counter register is not locked, for clearing it, I can clear the upper. But if I have this pulled out, this one's a 2 position. It's just pull in, pull out. So if it's pulled out, this will not clear. I need to get locked in place. Just got to push it back in and clear it. The lower one's a little more annoying. Just there's 3 positions on it. It's like full in, full out, and then halfway. So full in is your standard position of, if that's all the way in, I can have a bunch of numbers in this thing all the way down like here. And as long as I hit the lower, it's going to clear everything out. This one, I think the middle position clears, I want to say, just the right side. So let's find out. Okay, middle position just clears the left side. So now I'm going to pull it all the way out, and I'm going to assume that it's not going to clear at all. And we're going to watch me. Yep, okay. So by induction, this did what I think it was supposed to do. All right, I think that's about it. I'm hopefully going to have a slightly better kind of detailed video on the operations of this. Like I could run through a square root right now, but I mean it's just the same type of thing as any other automatic machine, and it's a lot of subtraction of odd multiples, and you know there's nothing automatic about it. If your machine has a negative multiply button, I hope it works. I wish mine had it, because it seems like that's honestly a really simple kind of thing. I mean, you're just changing it over from addition and subtraction here, but I mean, I guess the guys who bought this back in the 50s kind of didn't think they needed that. Anyway, it's It's a brief overview of the operations of this thing.